Hey everyone! In this series, I'm going to introduce you to the highly anticipated Post Pro system for Photoshop. We'll take a look at every single function on the panel and how the new and powerful AI features make it so easy and fun to use Photoshop. The panel is divided into three main sections: the top section, the mid section, and the bottom section. Let's begin with the top section. On the top, we have the undo and the redo buttons on either side of the Post Pro logo. These buttons let you undo and redo your steps up to a maximum of 1,000 times. The Photoshop's default number is usually set to 20. To increase that number, go to Photoshop Settings and choose Performance. Under History and Cache, set the History States setting to somewhere between 50 to 200, as it doesn't affect Photoshop's performance and still gives you a lot of undo states. To the left, we have all the adjustment layers arranged vertically. These include the levels, curves, hue saturation, selective color, color balance, and gradient map adjustment layers. By default, these buttons will create an adjustment layer first, and then you can adjust their settings from the Properties tab. But if you hold down Alt or Option key on your keyboard and then click on any of these adjustment layers, it first opens up the Settings pop-up box for you to make an adjustment, and then when you click on OK, it creates the adjustment layer. So you can choose whichever option fits your workflow better. To the right side of the top section, we have all the essential retouching tools set aligned vertically. These include the Patch tool, the amazing new Remove tool, the Healing brush, Clone stamp, Mixer brush, and the Brush tool. When you hold down the Alt or Option key and hover over the panel, you will see that the Remove tool switches to Spot Healing brush and the Brush tool switches to the Eraser. In the upper mid section, you will find a dotted selection bounding box, inside which are all the important selection tools. This selection border also doubles up as an active selection indicator, so whenever a selection is active in the document, it turns red in color. If the selection in the image is hidden, the selection border stays red, indicating that even though you can't see the marching ants, the selection is still active. The first row of selection tools include the rectangular marquee, object selection tool, quick selection tool, magic wand, and the lasso tool. Holding Alt or Option key will switch the rectangular marquee tool to the elliptical marquee tool, and the lasso tool to the polygonal lasso tool. The second row of selection tools include Select Subject, Sky Selection, Select and Mask, Pen tool, and a new Feather tool. The Feather tool lets you feather a section or path with a real-time preview to blur the edges. So if I make a selection and click on Feather, I can visually blur the edges of the selection. Similarly, if I create a path for a cutout and click on the Feather button, I can visually blur the edges of the path. And this preview is very helpful to match the edge softness exactly to the image. This avoids a sharp cutout of the subject, which can sometimes look too obvious and not realistic. The Feather tool is also very useful to smooth out selections before using generative fill. The third row of selection tools includes Inverse Selection, Hide Selection, Deselect, Reselect, and Save Selection buttons. Hide Selection is a useful option when you're working around the edge of a selection, but the distracting marching ants block the clear view of the edges. So hiding a selection lets you work with an active selection but without the distracting marching ants. And you can see that the selection indicator is red, so you'll know that the selection is still active. Once you're done, you can unhide the selection or just deselect it. When there is an active selection in the image, the Save Selection button will let you save your selection as a channel. But if there is no active selection in the image, then this same button lets you load a previously saved selection. Keep in mind that if you haven't saved a selection, the Load Selection option will not be available if the background layer is the target. Moving on to the second half of the top section, in the first row we have all the transformation tools like the Free Transform, Flip Horizontal, Flip Vertical, Rotate Left, and Rotate Right. Holding Alt or Option key will switch the Free Transform button to the Perspective Warp tool. The second row of transform tools includes the Warp tool, Smart Warp, Liquify, Smart Liquify, and a Neural Filters shortcut. The smart versions of Warp and Liquify tools use a non-destructive workflow. Holding Alt or Option key will switch the Warp tool to the Puppet Warp tool, and the Smart Warp tool switches to the Smart Puppet Warp tool. The icons of the Warp tools, however, won't change when you hold Alt-Option, so keep that in mind. And holding Alt or Option key will switch the Smart Liquify to the Reliquify icon. When you liquefy using the Smart Liquify button instead of a regular liquefy, You can later use the Reliquify button to modify the effect. Let me add a few color grading layers before I reliquify. You can also revert the liquify at any time by clicking on the Reliquify button. This brings the liquify layer on the top of the layer stack with all the final adjustments, and now you can simply turn off the visibility to revert liquify. It's a good practice to use liquify at the end of your workflow, but in case you don't, now you have the option to reliquify. The final row includes the new AI Generative Fill, one-click content-aware fill, and the Fade button. The AI Generative Fill button also doubles up as high-resolution generative expand. The way it works is, if there's an active selection in your image, and you click on the AI Fill button, it auto-detects if a selection is active and fills it using Generative Fill. But if there's no active selection in your image and you click on AI Fill, it first prompts that it is about to do a high-res generative expand, and if you click on Continue, it will first expand your image by 1,000 pixels on all 4 sides, and then fill them in sections using the maximum resolution possible with Generative Fill. This process could take a while depending on the speed of your computer or the size of your image. Holding Alt or Option key will switch the AI Fill button to the Content-Aware Scale button, which scales your image without affecting the subject. Next is the Content-Aware Fill button, which fills the selection using content-aware technology, and then deselects your selection in a single click. Note that Content-Aware Fill requires a selection to be made first. When you hold Alt or Option key and then click on Content-Aware Fill, it opens up the Content-Aware Fill interface for you to manually select certain areas in your image to clone the content from. So you have both the options to choose from. With the Fade button, you can reduce the opacity of the previous step to make it blend perfectly with your image. Please note that the Fade option is only available immediately after a brushstroke or a filter. You can't even use the Save command in between. This is completely different to the Layer opacity, which reduces the opacity of the entire layer. So that covers the overview of the top section of the panel. In the next video, we'll take a look at the mid section of the panel.